Namaskara. I've got a very bad throat, so you'll have to excuse me. Shri Ashwath Narayan ji, Shri P.C. Mohan, Shri Samir Kulgalkar, other distinguished friends. I think last night I had some moong ki dal ka halwa. Ever since I have not been able to. Maybe you should serve me some black coffee so we can do a coffee pe charcha rather than a bhashan. We had a very good session with the startups before I came. But it was good because I didn't give a bhashan. I heard everybody and I got a lot of positive and a lot of innovative ideas from all the participants. But always a delight to come to Bangalore. Pani there?
Water. Little warm water.
No, regular water. Regular. In fact, recently at the Bangalore Tech Summit, Prime Minister Modi had described Bangalore very well when he said innovation backed by integration becomes a force. In India, technology is a force which helps us in equality and empowerment. And truly, some of this work that has happened in Bangalore is outstanding in terms of its achievement, and going forward will transform the way India works, will transform the way India thinks, the way India grows. And this budget 2023 primarily is a budget that's laying the foundation of the next 25 years, which Prime Minister has termed as the Amrit Kal. The idea being that we should have a vision of a country. Country has to plan out its growth story, plan out how we will take growth to the remotest corners of the country, how we will ensure every single person enjoys the fruits of development, prosperity reaches every home, and therefore this budget 2023 is basically laying the foundation for the next 25 years as India emerges as the driver of global economic growth and becomes a developed country, a prosperous country. We've had a lot of budgets in the past. P.C. Mohan was speaking in Kannada, but I could understand a little bit. Budgets which would make announcements, budgets which would make promises, budgets which would give freebies. But Prime Minister Modi's style of working is quite different. He believes we'll have to promise what we can deliver. He doesn't like the idea that we make fanciful set of commitments to the people, probably only to win an election, and then we fail the people in our duty. I'll share with you my own experience in 2014 and also in 2019. After the general election, you have your first cabinet meeting where the Honorable Prime Minister lays down his vision, what he would like to do, what are the principles on which he would like his colleagues in the cabinet to work. One of the primary guidance he would give all of us was that elections are now over. Now we have to govern, now we have to perform. State elections, local body elections, all that will come and go. But don't ever take any decision just based on an election. do what is right, do what is in national interest, do what is good for the people of India. And make sure you don't discriminate between different people. All sections of society must benefit from your work. Your work must benefit all the states. Your work should be outcome oriented and should impact the lives of the people of India. And if you see over the last 9 years, and if, as I do believe most of you must have heard the speech of the Honorable President of India, Mahamahim Draupadi Murmuji. She articulated in her address to the nation on 31st of January, when she was speaking to both the houses of parliament, how the 9-year growth story so far, with Mr. Modi at the helm of affairs, India has seen a transformational change. Change in the lives of the poor, change in the lives of the middle class, change in the lives of every section of society, our sisters and daughters, our young boys and girls, the less privileged sections of society, the marginalized persons who have remained left behind in the growth story of India. How Prime Minister Modi's government has prepared the foundation on which India now wishes to take off. The foundation on which, in the Amrit Kal, the next 25 years, our growth story, our journey to become a developed country will be crafted. After all, there was a time when an ordinary person, a common man, would spend the whole day worrying about his meal at night. There was a time where typically people were doing savings so that someday they can own their own house. In the not too distant past, there were families with no electricity, with no toilet, with no cooking gas connection, with no digital connectivity, with no tap water at home. All of these are realities as recent as 2014. After all, and for most of us in this room, we take a thing like electricity for granted. We assume drinking water or water has to come from a tap. We have not had to face the inconvenience of going to a well to take water or going to a public tap and standing in a queue to take water. But if we look back in history, in our own families, maybe one generation, 2 generations back, people must have lived without electricity. Our mothers or grandmothers might have been cooking on a chula with no access to cooking gas. We have had brothers and sisters and our forefathers going to the fields for their day-to-day needs because there were no toilets. And imagine a nation 67 years after independence, 50% of our population did not have a toilet in their home. 50%. It's a shocking number, but that's the reality. Over 11 crore toilets were built by funding from the central government to ensure that no home is there without a toilet. No sister, no mother, no daughter has to face the indignity of not having a toilet at home. Nearly 3.5 crore families did not have electricity connection in there. So you imagine how many crores of children were being deprived of basic education. I remember in 14 when I became a minister, there was an IIT professor who used to be training tribal women to make solar lamps. And every MP, particularly in the rural areas, every MP was all the time behind me for funds to distribute solar lamps to the children of their villages. Nearly 10 crore homes got a free gas connection between 2014 and 2019. Today, almost 99% homes in the country have been relieved of the inconvenience of the wooden chula or coal-based chula. Today, almost 99% homes have a gas connection. I don't know if PC Mohan remembers, Tejasvi has not seen it. But when my father was a member of parliament, the most precious perquisite of being an MP was that every 3 months you got a booklet of coupons, gas coupons, gas connection coupons. Yeah, at one point even telephone coupons. So that out of turn you can favor somebody to get a gas connection or a telephone connection. The telephone problem in large measure was solved during Mr. Vajpayee's time, where you could get a telephone connection on call. And then, of course, now mobiles have taken over, so I think half the people won't even have a landline at home. And Mr. Modi's government has made data so cheap, so affordable, that today our usage of data is more than any other country in the world, including China. In fact, that gas coupon was so valuable that if you wanted an appointment with the top cancer specialist of Bombay, if you dangled a gas coupon to his scheduler, to his secretary, you could get an appointment like this. But that was shameful. Drinking water. Very often you keep hearing that the health budget of the government is small. Obviously, in India, health budget is not only the central government. There's central government budget. There's a large contributory ESIC budget. There's a very large state government element. And then there's a large investment through the private sector. So please don't get carried away if somebody is trying to misguide you and tell you, oh, India doesn't spend on healthcare at all. Or it's very, very low part of GDP. It's not so. It's distributed at different levels. Yet, a lot needs to be done, needs to grow much more. But friends, tell me, does it make sense to encourage diseases and then keep curing people? Or is it better economics for our economic cell to consider and for all of you to ponder over, to look at wellness and preventive care so that less number of people need health care or need to go to hospital or doctors? Many of you, and if there's any doctor in the room, he'll tell us, roughly half the diseases in India are waterborne diseases. Any doctor here? Am I reasonably accurate? Sorry? It's a fact. Waterborne diseases are the biggest cause of health problems in the country. Now, when Prime Minister Modi allocates lakhs of crores of rupees so that every home can get a tap and you can get good water in your home through a tap, uncontaminated. Those lakhs of crores may not count in the health budget of India, but that's a smarter way to use your budget and prevent people from becoming sick. than just adding not a few lakhs but a few 10 times that amount to cure people after they fall sick. Similarly, studies tell us that 400 cigarettes equivalent smoke goes into the body of our women if they have to cook on the traditional chula. And then you obviously understand the healthcare impact of that. So does it not make smarter sense that you rid that chula from your system so that so many more women don't fall sick and they can add to the productive value of our economy? Similarly, whether it is toilets, whether it is sanitary pads, all of these, I am told, are a big cause of cervical cancer. The lack of toilets and the lack of awareness and availability of sanitary pads. So if the government focuses, again spends over 1.5 lakh to build those 11 crore toilets all over the country, in the remotest village in every home, does that not make economic prudent sense? And would you not categorize it as, in a way, healthcare investment? Today, sanitary pads are available in the Jan Aushadhi stores. We have 9,000 Jan Aushadhi stores. Finance Minister spoke about it. At, I think, 10 rupees for a pack. Almost 1 rupee or thereabouts for one sanitary pad. It's a dream that has always been forefront in my own mind. And I'll share a small anecdote why I say so. My son, when he was in class 12 or 11, I think, when he was in class 11, took up a study of schools in Mumbai. I'm not talking of some remote area, Mumbai. He did a study in the municipal schools of Mumbai because the dropout rate of girl child was very high. And the dropout was starting in 4th, 5th standard only. 4th, 5th, 6th standard, the girls would go. So when he did a study, there are about 450 municipal schools in Mumbai. Of course, he took the help of doctors, he took the help of municipal educationists. But the stark finding in that study was exactly these two things. And I'm talking of the year 2011, I think. Lack of toilets for the girls, separate toilet for the girl, and lack of availability. They couldn't afford for 50 rupees a pack of sanitary pads. All the Procter Gamble and all of that, I don't know which were the companies. They were the only sanitary pads at that time, except probably something which Murugan, the padman of Tamil Nadu, was making. And girls would feel embarrassed. And 4th, 5th standard, they would start feeling embarrassed. There was no toilet also. Boys also at that age are little innocent. They would make fun, and gradually the girl would stop coming during that period. And gradually stop coming altogether. You know, miss out 10, 12 days, then you are out of sync. And gradually stop coming. And why it is very personal to me is, amongst other things, I suspect this study of his helped him get admission at the Harvard University for his education. And ever since, as a family, my wife and I would always think that we owe it to the nation that something needs to be done about it. And I think God heard our prayers. Because Prime Minister Modi, in the first Independence Day address in 2014, where he launched Swachh Bharat Mission, he gave all of us a direction that every school across the country, every school, mind you, should have a separate toilet for girls. And in 1 year, I think across the country, assessment was done, and the remotest villages, wherever we didn't have a toilet for girls separately, toilets were made all over the country. Separately for boys, separately for girls in the schools. And as Finance Minister announced, we are focusing to see that every woman in the country who needs it can get sanitary pads at 1 rupee. And Jan Aushadhi stores are an outlet which is helping us achieve that. Now, you may think I've come all the way from Delhi. What am I talking of? I'm trying to give you a sense of the mindset of this government, how Prime Minister Modi thinks. It's quite unique because it's about empowerment. It's not a freebie. One can jolly well say, and I've done the maths, we may probably need just about 2,000-3,000 crores and start giving out these sanitary bags free of charge. But that will never solve the problem. A free thing will be misused, there'll be black marketing, there'll be leakages in the system. But by paying 1 rupee, उस चीज की इज्जत होती है. You respect because you paid from your pocket, even though it's 1 rupee. And therefore we made it so affordable that the girl child or the woman is proud that she has bought it and is using it. And of course, there's a lot of awareness that is now coming to the country. And it is this empowerment for which Prime Minister Modi has built 3.5 crore homes free of charge. I don't know if you noticed, even in this budget, the amount allocated for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has been almost 66% increased. 66% increase in 1 year. Because that program is so powerful. 3.5 crore poor families are today empowered because they have their own home. A home is not just a shelter, is not 4 walls and a roof. It helps that family become bolder. It helps that family feel an equal member of society. It's a socially very powerful tool to have your own home. The home has a toilet, it has a proper kitchenette, it has a road leading up to the village and now across the villages to homes. The rural roads today cover 60 lakh kilometers. Program started by Mr. Vajpayee in NDA 1 and now rolled out at massive scale across the country by Mr. Modi. The home will also have digital connectivity because we are fast rolling out broadband to every panchayat in the country. And of course, mobile is 4G is there through the length and breadth of the country. We've already launched 5G now on 1st October. In the next few months, by the end of calendar 23, nearly 125 cities covering almost a major part of the population of India will have high quality 5G connectivity. All of this, friends, is empowerment. Today we are all here. Is any of us taking a piece of paper and throwing it around? We are not. Because we like to have a clean, neat environment. Should the whole country not be clean and neat? Can you imagine trying to fight COVID if we didn't have a cleaner nation, a Swachh Bharat, where cities are competing with each other because of rankings to become cleaner? Can you imagine how we would have fought COVID if we didn't have Digital India mission launched in 2015? Nobody knew COVID is going to come. But when we were locked up in home in the lockdown, and not only us, remotest parts of India, in the villages also, fortunately there was electricity because by 2018-19, every home in the country had electricity. You'll agree with me that now television, and if at all a family doesn't have television, they'll have a smartphone. that kept the nation connected, kept the nation going, kept children getting education online. In a manner of speaking, this empowerment lasts for generations. Doles last for a few days. What kind of a nation do we want to build? A nation which lives year to year, dole to dole, freebie to freebie, election to election? Or you want a nation which empowers every citizen to become a better citizen, which empowers them to lead a better quality of life, which empowers businesses, encourages them to grow, expand, create economic activity. We want to respect wealth creators because they provide jobs, they add value to the country's future. And all of you, ladies and gentlemen, are those value creators who help this nation in our journey to a developed India. You must have all heard that old famous story of Kennedy asking, did America make great highways or did highways make America great? We all know the answer. Somehow, governments were too busy to really focus on creating a long-term story in India. Ever since Prime Minister Modi came into government, you look at each one of his programs, you'll find that they're all very interconnected. It started with the Jan Dhan bank account. Financial inclusion is one of the most important sustainable development goals. Without that, you can't transact, you can't give people the power of technology in their financial transactions. Then he brought Aadhaar. Everybody today has an identity, common identity number. The mobile phone was made so affordable that I suspect, of course, each one in this room might be having a mobile phone, but every member of your family may have a phone. Your drivers and domestic help may have a phone. Your workers in your factory or your compounder or technicians in your dispensary will have a phone. 800 million smartphones in India. And collectively, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, Mobile, the JAM Trinity, helped us give direct benefit transfer. Do you know we've distributed to the poor beneficiaries of different schemes, over 300 schemes, nearly 25 lakh crores directly into their bank account. You know, there was a prime minister who said that if I send 100 rupees, only 15 rupees reaches the poor. In Hindi, there's a word, nihatta, helpless. That was the helpless mindset. Oh, what can I do? 85 rupees goes away in corruption and middlemen and whatnot. What did Prime Minister Modi say? I'll solve the problem. I'll apply my mind. I'll give everybody a bank account. Even if he doesn't have money, zero balance bank account. I'll connect everybody with an identity so that the right person can be identified. The beneficiary will get money in his bank account. And connectivity through mobile phone has helped us ensure that that money actually reaches and we can get a confirmation that it has reached the right person. And that's the power of technology being leveraged to make India a superpower, to make India a global power. After all, it's not without the effort of all of you that India has transformed itself from the 10th largest to the 5th largest economy in the last 8 years. 4 years, give or take 1 year, will be the 3rd largest economy in the world. But the journey will not stop there, I can assure you. And therefore I say, what Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharamanji said is absolutely spot on. This is a foundational budget for India's Amrit Kal for the next 25 years. 10 lakh crore central government spending straight into infrastructure. For those who understand economic impact of infra spending or capex spending, it has a multiplier effect of nearly 3.5, 3.4, 3.5 times. Because while you're spending on capex, you're buying steel, cement, you need labor, carpenters, you need to buy carpets, you need chandeliers, lighting, electricians, plumbers, ceramic material, and whatnot. All of that generates demand, generates jobs. All those who earn money out of it, salaries, incomes, profit, they spend that money. That consumption creates further demand. That further demands encourages further capex to meet that demand. And it's a virtuous cycle, not vicious, virtuous cycle. And that virtuous cycle is what kept our economy as one of the world's fastest growing large economy. And I assure you, for many years to come, will continue to be the world's fastest growing large economy on the back of this huge thrust on an honest nation, on an inviting nation which invites new technologies, which invites innovation, which invites investment of all sorts. And collectively, all of us will leverage on the various government programs. It could be the program to promote our startups. It could be the program to encourage the Bangalore suburban rail to come up faster. I think large amount has been provided in this budget. 7,500 crores provided for rail infrastructure in Karnataka alone. You see the highways. Today you can reach Mysuru in 1.5 hours. If most of you would have seen the Mumbai-Pune region, and the exponential growth of that region. The seeds of that were the Mumbai-Pune Expressway, which was made when BJP was in power in 95 to 99. And even today is high quality. Today across the country we've built such a network of highways and high quality roads which will help this country for generations, not for a few years. This type of connectivity will encourage this Mysore-Bangalore to become an entire new economic corridor and take the Mysore region up. Of course, tourism will get a big leg up in Mysore, beautiful place, beautiful, huge potential for tourism. Agri startups are being given a big leg up. In every respect, as Debjani Ghosh, the chair of NASSCOM said, this Director General of NASSCOM said, and I quote, budget has struck the perfect symphony in outlining how India is at a relatively bright spot to not just lead, but build its advantage in 3 areas: digital transformation, energy transformation, and supply chain transformation. And I think Bangalore is the perfect amalgam of technology and talent to leverage this journey of transformation, lead the entire nation's effort in the years to come to not only make India a great place to live in, not only make India an economic superpower on the strength of the technologies that you develop in Bangalore, but also lead global innovation efforts with the outstanding work that I see happening in Bangalore day and night. I'm sure that this people-centric budget, this budget that is encouraging Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant, confident India, this budget which has been crafted by a global leader whose popularity not only in India but across the world is unparalleled. This period where we have a decisive, strong political leadership which is willing to bite the bullet and take tough decisions in the interests of the people of India, in the interests of the nation. A country which has nationalism at its core, which unites the people of India and helps make India the driver of global growth through our international forays, increasing international engagement. Of course, you spoke about $422 billion of export of merchandise last year. Sir, the services exports was 300 billion. 250 billion. So collectively we did 674 billion of exports last year. 422 plus 254. This year we'll cross 300 billion. And only 300 billion in services. And collectively between goods and services, in this 75th year of independence, I hope we can cross 750 billion. An unparalleled feat. But that is the speed and scale at which this government wants to encourage all of you. In your efforts, this same figure 2 years ago was about $500 billion. From 500 to 750 in 2 years has been possible thanks to all of you, thanks to the good work that the people of India, that businesses in India are doing, the hard work and the smart work collectively, which is helping India in making this truly the bright spot of the world. I'm sure this budget, which has been widely received as a budget which has reached out to every section of society, which has brought happiness to almost every person in one form or the other, opens up the doors, open up new opportunities for a much better future, a much more glorious and prosperous future for our children in a sustainable world, in a sustainable India, and energy conscious, climate change conscious India, particularly given the thrust to green energy and to sustainability. I'm confident that collectively we will all work to make India, if I may say, the neighbor's envy and owner's pride. Thank you.